Goodness comes and evil goes.
Kimunga Ukombozi, Kimunga Ukombozi, Kimunga Ukombozi, divine liberty, divine liberation, divine freedom, and all that that will bring for African people wherever we happen to be on the face of this earth. Karibu, welcome. My name is Kwende, and today we're going to get into another important subject, and that is learning and development for liberty. Now, in previous videos, I've mentioned a number of ideas or theories, conceptions developed by thinkers among us. And this is so important that we draw on the best of what we can attain from those that have done work, published work, engaged in work that we can draw upon, that we can benefit from. This does not mean that this is without critical analysis and thinking on our part. And it certainly doesn't mean that in any absolute sense that any compromising positions or thoughts that ones may have are supported or indeed valid in this sphere. So it's important that we draw on the best of what we can. It may be part of an idea or particular subject areas or topics or conceptions that are discussed. Doesn't mean that everything is agreed upon, but we can agree on the best of what we can put on. And we don't want to throw away everything that we can use. So we want to pull on what we can use and cast aside things that perhaps are redundant. So we can do that as a process, and that is the process of restoration, and we can creatively restore ourselves in that way. And that's certainly part of learning and development as it is for African souls in general terms, but specifically in terms of what we do for the attainment and maintenance of liberty. And that is why it's important that African souls engage in independent African-centered studies, African-centered learning, African development programs, being part of organs that are working in the interest and betterment and ascension of African souls. All of these things are vitally important. So we can pull on the best of our experiences, pull on the best of what we can, and build upon the best of what we can, strengthen the weaknesses, discard any redundancies, and engage in, as best we can, in the process of liberation, taking the responsibility of the natural role that we carry as liberators for ourselves. And that is what we are. And it's an ongoing thrust of life, because liberators are always a requirement of African life. It is not simply attainment. It is attainment and maintenance. Liberty is to be secured for eternity. Therefore, the thrust of being a liberator never leaves the African soul. Our history, our experiences expose the reality of that. So it's very important that as African people, we purposely build into our lives facets, means, ways, thought, and engagement that will allow the role of liberator to flourish, the process of liberation to continue, and for liberty into eternity to be secured. So let us not lose sight of critical thinking, critical analysis, critical engagement at the same time, let us not then abstain from what it is that we need to do to build and develop ourselves in nationhood term, so that indeed liberty is secured in the now and in the tomorrows to come. So with that, food for thought, and surely it is food for thought. Kimunga Ukumbozi, Kimunga Ukumbozi, Kimunga Ukumbozi, divine liberty, divine liberation, divine freedom, and all that that will bring for African people wherever we happen to be on the face of this earth.
The son who has returned home, for Africans back on time. The son who has returned home, for Africans back on time. Freedom walks, freedom talks, freedom comes in